Yeah, in a frustration, I use the F word.
Hey, the whole world fight with it, you know. Hey, I know the first being cuss about one, you know, but publicly, that way there, and the first, the whole world ever hear a head of state. Lego the F word, them way there, you know. And next Wednesday, we have a program line up here for you. We want to yell up all the people who say, boy, I'm out there. You say, last week program, trust me, it's up there. Them clip there. I said the clip them, grab the people them. Yeah, me I tell you the clip them, grab the people them. People them some to play more clip. Yeah, well, you know, so we play them like how we play the music, you know. Yeah, because some music at 3 minutes, some music at 2 minutes and something. Well, we try to find some clip where we go 3 minutes or 2 minutes. But we have some there where go all 2 hours and 1 hour and I'm here then, the whole days. By the way, I reckon I celebrate 35 years. And we got 33 out of that. I can't believe it, you know. I can't believe it. Say I do this program here for 33 years. From Monday to Tuesday to Wednesday. Who remember when it used to come up on Monday? Yeah, and then come up on Tuesday. So it's stuck on Wednesday, I know. Can't believe it, man. 33 years with there. And Shane there with me from them time they too. So why you love Shane? Why you love Shane, you know? Yeah, man. The man know the program like the back of him on. Yeah, man. That's why you hardly any mistake, you know. It's a whole heap of mistake make with you know, but between me and him, we know how to just curve the ball and make it work. So why you love Shane Clark? Genius. After 33 years, I have to be a genius, man. Want to give thanks. Give thanks to some of the people them who did it before me too. Like Andrea Williams. I think Biggie did it too. Whole heap of ones did it. Whole heap of ones come and gone. 33 years. I have to smile when I remember that 33 years. Yeah, man. Mr. Young come, him son come, him son pass at ripe age in I'm 20s, I think. Mr. Young pass was in I'm 80s, I think. 35 years, still going strong after so long. Yeah, man. And we are told that this is something them say could have never work. We have pure Jamaican music, pure reggae music. Them say it could have never work. Not to mention my program, Cutting Edge. That, no, so you can have a man attack them way up on radio. And I play all Farrakhan and all them racist man there. But whether the star man come through, and now people well want to hear them something they know. So there with you, as well as the clip them seem to take off like music to the ears. Who want to play this one here, a long one? Well, it's not long, but it's long. You know them way there. We're going to play this. Listen.
Tell us what your own position as George Coyne is on evolution and intelligent design.
Okay, my position as George Coyne, and I think it represents a significant number of Catholic scientists, is the following. That the best scientific explanation we have of the origin of the universe and everything in the universe, including all living systems and ourselves, is by what I call neo-Darwinian evolution.
Well, I clearly agree with that, and I believe that Pope John Paul II would have agreed with that as well.
He certainly said very officially in a very official document to the Pontifical Academy of Sciences that evolution is no longer a mere hypothesis. I avoid the word theory.
Yes, me too.
Because certainly in American English, the theory gets the idea of it's only a theory.
Yes.
It's someone's idea.
Yes.
Where it is the best scientific explanation, and it does not at all contrast with any Catholic teaching.
Right, okay. But I think I certainly would want to make a distinction between acknowledging that on the one hand and trying to bring in something supernatural on the other.
The idea of bringing in something supernatural, I think, is a caricaturization of what religious faith is all about. A scientist or any other human being can accept or deny the supernatural. But what you cannot do is on scientific, strictly methodological scientific grounds, deny the supernatural.
No, I think I agree you can't actually deny it, but isn't it then part of a very large population of things that you can't deny, for which there's no positive evidence? I mean, you can't deny fairies at the bottom of the garden, but neither of us take it seriously. So
positive evidence is a key word here, I think.
But is there any?
Oh, there certainly is positive evidence for the supernatural, but it goes outside the scientific endeavor, because the scientific endeavor, by its methodology, is limited to explaining natural events by natural causes, or if you wish, I don't like to use the word material, but we can use it in this context, material events that we observe by material causes, and it's limited to that. But it is limited to that.
But you've used the word evidence. What sort of evidence are you speaking of?
Well, I'm speaking of the whole traditions from, at least 2,000 years before Christ up until modern times, but the whole of Judaic Christian literature, of Islamic literature, of church traditions that have been passed on since the founding of the church, etc. They are all well-established human endeavors. Now, you can examine them and reject them, but they have to be examined. They are clear evidence outside of science. I mean, they're not tricks. Somebody is not tricking us into believing in the supernatural.
No, but they're evidence that in these traditions people thought certain things, but that doesn't mean that what they thought was right. It's hardly evidence just that people for 2,000 years have thought something, is it?
That is correct. That is correct. But if I examine what they've thought over this long period of times, I find that I can, without divorcing my whole rational structure, I can accept that. I do not find that I, as a person and as a scientist, am sort of schizophrenic. That is, I'm being strict about my scientific methodology, but I'm being juvenile. I'm being non-rational. I'm being non-inquisitive when I accept scriptures and church tradition and all that comes with them. I think it's coherent.
Yes. You mentioned both the Christian tradition and the Islamic tradition. These are not the same.
Buddhist. No,
yes. So how do you decide which one? I mean, you're a Catholic priest. Why light upon that tradition rather than any of these other ancient traditions?
It's because of my history. All of us have our personal history, which we struggle with. I mean, I grew up in a very Catholic family, okay? Does that mean that I've been duped? I grew up in a Catholic family. I went to Catholic school.
But if you had been brought up in an Islamic country, you'd be a Muslim, therefore.
Probably so. I mean, we are all subject to our personal histories. I can't deny.
Well, we clearly are, but doesn't that undermine your feeling of validity of the one you just happen to have been born into?
No, because this is a faith statement now. It's my firm belief that God deals with each of us in his own way.
So the Muslim's beliefs which contradict yours are equally valid in his personal history and therefore
That's a
equally
very
valid?
challenging question. I would say there are ingredients of God's speaking to the Muslim tradition, to the Buddhist tradition, to the Catholic tradition. There are elements of God's true revelation to these people in all of those traditions. Each of us wants to make our own claims. I think it's always wrong for any of the traditions to claim that they have the absolute truth, that they are the ones that God really speaks to. I think that's a caricature of what happens, but it has happened in history, of course. We have to face that.
Why don't you accept those things which are universal, like the existence of God? Why do you, in addition, accept those things which would be contradicted by these other traditions, like the, I don't know whether the virgin birth or some part of the Catholic tradition which is particular to the Catholic tradition?
Because besides, believing in the existence of God, I firmly believe that God has spoken in a very special way, through the Jewish tradition up until the birth of his own son. I firmly believe that Jesus Christ is true God and true man, sent to us by God to save us. That's all my religious tradition, and I find that that is not incoherent with my life in general, and certainly not incoherent with my scientific pursuits.
No, not with that, but with the possibility that you might have been brought up in a different tradition and would believe something that really did contradict it.
Yes, okay, we're speaking now, if I could, sort of broaden the discussion, we're speaking about a very short period of human history, much less an extremely short period of cosmic history.
Indeed, yes.
So if we're living in a universe that's 14 billion years old, human civilization, how far back will we date just the first human being? Some fraction of a million years?
Yes, I mean, but that you wouldn't want to call that civilization.
No. And then, religious history, certainly Judeo-Christian tradition from, I would say, roughly 2,000 years before Christ up, and these are very short periods of time. Who knows, in the whole kind of more cosmic universal view of things, that the religious traditions will not eventually unify.
What do you say to fellow Christians who take the book of Genesis literally, and Adam and Eve and 6 days and things like that?
I tend to get very upset by it, any literalist, fundamentalist interpretation of Scripture, because it simply reveals, I hate to be this harsh with people who are real believers and very religious, but it does, because it reveals a very fundamental ignorance of what Scripture is all about. And let me put it this way. Scripture was written between, let's say, 5,000 years, at least the traditions back to the prophet Abraham, the patriarchs, until about 200 years after Christ, which is the Gospel of St. John. That's the span of the Judeo-Christian scriptures. Modern science came to be in roughly, in the 17th century, with Galileo on through Leibniz and Newton. There is no science in Scripture. There can't be, because of that conflict of dates, but they had no scientific mentality. They had no curiosity about how old was the universe, how did various things come to be.
But if the book of Genesis was written by fallible humans who didn't really know anything, in what sense is it God speaking to us?
That's a very good question. We really truly believe that God, working through these various cultures, that these writers were inspired to give the foundations for a religious tradition. What that inspiration means, what it doesn't mean, is God was not dictating to these people. That's clearly absurd to think that. But they were people of faith and a deep religious tradition, and that God was really working with them, through their faith in creating a literature that would be foundational for future religious belief. I mean, What intelligent design? In fact, I call it the intelligent design movement. And what it is, it's a mistaken attempt to try and use science to establish the what I call the implications of science, that is going beyond science to the philosophical, theological interpretation. So what intelligent design does, it begins with biology, and I'm not a biologist, so you correct me, but they offer various possibilities, you know, blood clotting system in the human being, and various
things. Well, they're effectively looking for gaps that in present scientific understanding,
they
from a
say
scientific
that
point of view, is waiting to be
there are
applied.
irreducibly complex biological systems, and you can explain that better than I can, that cannot be explained within the scientific method and require an intelligent designer. And in every case that they have suggested, and Ken Miller has, as you know, analyzed each of these cases, and you have, I'm sure, too, but Ken Miller within the Catholic tradition, as a biologist, simply says, none of it holds up. We can explain it. If you carefully examine what evolution does, you can explain this.
But do you think then that the soul entered at some point in evolution, Australopithecus, Homo erectus? Is it that kind of question?
I don't believe in the soul.
No.
I mean, if it's a question of belief, I don't believe this idea of, at some time in the evolutionary process, God put a soul into a certain
John Paul
organ.
II implied that that is what
Well,
happened.
Catholic tradition can be interpreted that way, but it's certainly not, it's not a doctrine that I have to believe and I don't believe.
Okay.
I simply think that, at best, I like to think about, as Teilhard de Chardin did, about the spirit emerging in this whole evolutionary process, that the whole process is continuous, and that from the material evolution, the spirit arose, however we define the spirit. It came through the evolutionary process. And God, of course, is working with it all along, so I'm not taking God out of the process. In fact, I'm putting him more into it than a God who sort of puts his finger at a magic moment into this evolutionary process.
You do think it arose during, there must have been an animal that didn't have a soul, and then a subsequent animal
yes,
that
but
did.
as all of evolution, as you know better than I do, Richard, all of evolution is continuous. The passage from inorganic to organic, from vegetable to animal, from one kind of animal to another. We can't decide, you know, when this little fish became a reptile.
No, indeed.
Can we?
No, indeed.
So
no.
it's the same with the rest of this process.
But if you believe that the soul survives death, then you would want to say...
Oh, now. I believe I survive death. Now, the mystery of that, I don't believe my soul does. I do.
But do you...
I mean, in the afterlife, I surely want to have a gin and tonic and play some tennis. But how that's going to happen, it's a mystery.
But do you believe chimpanzees survive death?
No.
And so, nor the common ancestor? Yeah.
Not necessarily. I can't say they don't, but
So there
I
must have
believe
been
I do.
a first animal in evolution that survived its own death.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah.
We always have to ask that question of, was there a first? And yeah, we have to say there was a first, but we don't know when, how.
Okay.
So we have come from apes, if that's true, and that would have to, of course, as you know very well, be more specified. But let's say we've come from apes. That does not make me an ape. I mean that evolution is very creative and brings about and has brought about a human being that is not reducible to its antecedents.
So it's faith, and you can't question faith.
That is correct. I cannot.
No.
It's too deep inside me.
Thank you very much indeed. This was a fascinating conversation.
Yes, well, I hope that never gone over the listener them head still. But it's whole heap of things that we unravel in that reasoning there. You know, whole heap of things. You know, faith and science, God and man. Yes, you have to listen to it carefully. And we know that it will go and pass a whole heap of one head. But it's very important that we play these things. Because you're going to go back up on it again in a different form, a different way, a different state. You know, so don't feel no way if you a one that say, I will not Muta play. You understand? Because we don't hope people out there see that way there. They listen to them. I will not Muta play, Rasta. But it will come to you in time. Something when say, or what them say, will unravel in front of you. And then you're going to remember it. And I say, rotted. And then 3-4 years later, I say, Muta, remember that thing the way you play in about 2025 with the two man them a reason. One is a Roman Catholic priest. You can't play it again for me. Yeah, I have had many of that happen to me over the past 30 odd years. People come and try to remind me about something I play, and then I ask me to play it again. Because even though you hear it, but some people don't listen. Them hear it, you know, but them don't listen it. And that is the problem with African people. Them hear things, but them don't listen to things. And it's very, very important that you listen. Because you can't hear more than one thing at the same time. Yeah, you can't hear more than one thing. But when you listen, your brain's focus. Your brain's focus when you listen, you know. When you hear things, your brain's not focus. It go all over the place. You hear car drive, music play, bird tweak, this, that. The job stuff waiting for your old stop. You hear all of these things. But when you start to listen, you realize that you have focus. Your brains and your understanding start to it's like a ray gun. It's like it a pinpoint something. So listening is very important. Very, very important. And certain things go on over your head as we speak, you know, something gone over your head. And we are say, maybe one of them days, you're going to sit down and listen to it in your head and then say, right, you know, somebody hear that thing there already. I never listen, you know, should I listen? Yeah, man. It's straight go. Straight go. Listening and hearing is two different things. You know, it's like some people I say, they talk to some people and them say, you hear what I say? And then Jamaican people have a thing to say. You talk to them and say, you know, see what I say? All people I tell them, pick that. You see what I say? And then not see and see it, or you're supposed to listen. So, we don't say that because we know it's very important. It's very important to where we are trying to do. You know, where we are do. And hope say it reach you in a way where we think it should have reached you. Yeah. It boggle the mind sometime when you can unravel some things where you hear. But it's a less of a problem to the mind if you don't just hear it. But you listen. Yes, something sound like just mumble jumble when you hear it. But when you start to listen, you start to pick sense out of where you think there was nonsense. Yeah, that is how it goes. Sometimes you think that you think are nonsense until you start to listen. So that is really the message where we have when we play that clip that while ago. The necessity to listen is very, very important in how we are trying to get across. That's it. So listen to the voices. Listen and you will hear. You will hear. And it will make a whole difference about in your perception of things. Yeah, because that is what you search for. A perception, a understanding, a way. Yes. The we is very important. So, well, if you with that. So, here we go now. Here we go. We want to play this. Alright, we want to play Ben Buchanan now. Here we go. I want you to listen. I want you to listen, you know. Don't just hear it, listen it.
Religion is the deification of a culture. And God is the highest concept one sees within his culture or her culture. Now the devil, in Egypt there is such a thing as a good God and a bad God. It is called the law of opposites. The Chinese and other people call it the yin and the yang. But the good God is no better than the bad God because you need both things. You need good to know bad and bad to know good. So the law of opposites, you see, it is Judeo-Christian to consider that in this man is good if there wasn't something in him called the devil. Now how the devil got in there? Who put the devil in there? They now say sex is the original sin. I'm not going to give it up, sin or not. But all right. Who made the devil? God. Right? Because they say the devil was a good angel in heaven and he started to try to overplay God and God kicked him out. Who made him? Just, you see, you got to break things down and analyze and ask yourself, these theories, not facts. Nobody have ever seen a devil. Nobody have ever seen a God. God didn't write a Bible. Man wrote a Bible and put God's name in it. If you have a Bible that God wrote, please let me see it. Because I want to see it. Inspired men of God wrote the Bible. Aren't you inspired when you go to the bathroom? If you don't get an inspiration, you're going to pee all over yourself. You got to be inspired to go to the bathroom and get up from where you at when it's time to pee. You get an inspiration. Or you may get a perspiration. But you see, you are in college. And you must do some thinking. That's why you're in college, to examine anything. You must be inquisitive, and there should be nothing that you can't examine. Nothing. Remember that the Bible that most of us use is one written by under the auspices and control and authority of a man named James I, the King of England, who in 1611 authorized this to be published. But who wrote it? Who were the inspired men? Sir Francis Bacon and 47 other professors from Eton, University of Glasgow in Scotland, Eton University, Cambridge University, Harvard University, and I think one more. Those 47 men working for James rewrote the Gutenberg Bible, written under the control of Martin Luther, who had broken away from Rome in the Edict of Worms. The Gutenberg Bible was a copy of the Reims-Dewey version that was quote, don't walk in any kind of rain at all. Because the one that got the rabbit died, got a version. The other one got the real thing. So when you see the word, your Bible marked version, you ain't got the real thing. And they all marked version. Yes, sir.
My question is twofold. And the first part of my question is, what is the visual name, constant factor, it is a name?
Africa was a colony, a little enclave, about the 4th century when the Greeks would come to Lesbos, now called Libya, to kind of put their ear to hear what was coming out of Egypt because they were barred from coming in mass. It was not until the Persians captured Egypt in 525 under Cambyses that the Greeks were allowed in any large number. That little colony that the Greeks call Africa later spread to now the entire continent. It started around the 4th dynasty. However, ancient people called the continent Corphy, C-O-R-P-H-Y-E, Ortegia, O-R-T-E-G-Y-A, Hesperia, H-E-S-P-E-R-I-A, Amonis, A-M-M-O-N-I-S, Libya, the whole continent, L-I-B, well, actually it was Lesbos, L-E-B-U-S, and Ethiopia, E-T-H-I-O-P-I-A. However, the oldest documents that I have found by the Ethiopians themselves and the Moors, there is a name they call A-L-K-E-B-U-L-A-N, Al-Kebulan. And that's the oldest name that I know that the continent was ever called.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Second one of the question is, you know, if we go into details of the Holy Trinity and the Immaculate Conception.
Well, first of all, what is an Immaculate Conception? The ancients never spoke of the hymen, H-Y-M-E-N, a thin membrane, very sensitive because of the nerve endings, that lays on the track of the vaginal canal of a woman, the colloquial expression being cherry. When they spoke of virgin, it coming from the Greek word virgo, meant original. It didn't mean virginity. Thus, when they spoke of a virgin woman, it didn't necessarily mean a woman who had no sexual intercourse with a man. That is the interpretation which the 219 bishops at the Nicene Conference of Bishops put into their concept, their distortion of Immaculate Conception. The ancient Egyptians said
one more time.
E-T-H-I-O-P-I-A. However, the oldest documents that I have found by the Ethiopians themselves and the Moors, there is a name they call A-L-K-E-B-U-L-A-N, Al-Kebulan. And that's the oldest name that I know that the continent was ever called.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Second one of the question is, you know, if we go into details of the Holy Trinity and the Immaculate Conception.
Well, first of all, what is an Immaculate Conception? The ancients never spoke of the hymen, H-Y-M-E-N, a thin membrane, very sensitive because of the nerve endings, that lays on the track of the vaginal canal of a woman, the colloquial expression being cherry. When they spoke of virgin, it coming from the Greek word virgo, meant original. It didn't mean virginity. Thus, when they spoke of a virgin woman, it didn't necessarily mean a woman who had no sexual intercourse with a man. That is the interpretation which the 219 bishops at the Nicene Conference of Bishops put into their concept, their distortion of Immaculate Conception. The ancient Egyptians said that a woman was immaculately conceived when she became pregnant at any one time without confusion as to who she is pregnant for. That means that she isn't running with two men at the same time in the 1 month from one period to the next. And she become pregnant, then she immaculately conceived, honestly, sincerely, without fraud with the man. But he must be in the same condition as her. That pregnancy is an immaculate conception. It is the distortion of that. Origin, O-R-E-G-I-N, one of the bishops at the Conference of Nicaea, an African bishop, in 325 of the Christian era, AD, was the one that put forward the concept that Mary, Goddess Mary, be so canonized as Goddess Aset, which the Greeks call Isis. Listen to the prayer that the Roman Catholics still have. Holy Mary, Mother of God, blessed are the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Listen to this. Holy and hail Isis, Mother of all and of God. Horus. True, perfect, and clean be thy womb. You see where the Mary thing come from? That's why I said, they have to suppress the evidence of what happened at the Nicene Conference. Because Mary was worshipped before Jesus was worshipped. They demoted Mary to worship her son. Don't forget that Jesus had an older brother by the name of James the Lesser, who became the Bishop of Caliandros. And your Bible said Jesus and his brothers and sisters. Do some thinking. You see, you read what you want to read, and you listen to what you want to hear. Let me give you a puzzle. Who preach the Trinity of God. You know what I'm saying? And there was no Jesus yet. Akhenaten died in 1359 BC. The Jesus, the Christ, supposed to have been born only 1985 years ago. Akhenaten is at least, at minimum, he died 1359 years before Jesus the Christ. And by the way, I said Jesus the Christ, you may not know it that way. You talk about Jesus Christ, as if Christ is a last name. Joshua Christus was the Greek names for that. Christus, translated into English, means the Christ, the anointed one. That's all it means. Nothing sacred. As a matter of fact, people didn't worship Jesus until the Conference of Antioch. They worshiped the womb, the heaven from whence he came. The early people who later were called Christians at the Council of Nicaea in 212 years after he's supposed to have been that dead. They worshipped him suddenly. But before that, they worshipped his mama. They worshipped the womb from where he came, heaven. The Roman Catholic still continues, Holy Mary, Mother of God, blessed are the fruit of your womb.
Right, so, yeah, Ben, you cannot talk about certain things. Couple weeks ago, I give the listener them homework for do. I don't know how much to do it. But what I asked was that you should go to a Roman Catholic priest. Go to a Roman Catholic priest and ask him what become of the communion that you take. The Eucharist or the wine that you take when you go to the Roman Catholic Church. What will come of that thing that you put in your mouth and you make the sign of the cross over it in your mouth, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost? What will come of it? And I did tell you that according to the Roman Catholic Church, it literally become the flesh and blood of Jesus. You hear me say? Literally become the blood and flesh of Jesus. Now, this is the next one. Here, when you can talk about Mary, and one of the things they say, Holy Mary, Mother of God. Holy Mary, Mother of God, you know. If you remember, for those of you who know, in the Egyptian mythology and philosophy, they talk about Isis, the female Isis, and then you have Horus, our son, and Osiris, which is the father. Now, Isis in the Roman Catholic Church is the mother of God. Now, what I want you to do is go to your Roman Catholic priest and tell him, say, you hear, call me name too. Mutabaruka say that the Roman Catholic says that if Mary conceived immaculately, she also was conceived immaculately. You hear me say? Tell him say you hear somebody. No, tell him not hear somebody. Tell him say you hear Muta say that if Mary conceived immaculately, she also was conceived immaculately. And hear what the father say. Make sure you go to a father, you know. Not a little guy right up and down around the place with a call himself preacher, you know. We're talking about a Roman Catholic priest, an ordained Roman Catholic priest. That is what they preach. That if Mary did have a child immaculately, she also must have conceived immaculately. Serious thing, how the mother disappear. It don't disappear in the Roman Catholic Church though. The Roman Catholic Church still heal the mother. And not only that, when you go in a purgatory and them something there, you have to go to Mary, you know. Yeah, you have to go to Mary. All these things, them, well, we are telling them people are easy, you know. All them things they teach at church, you know. Yeah, man, that same Mary where them sell it 2,000 years ago. You have to go to her before you can go anywhere. And when you grow big, you realize how weird and funny and just stupid and just weird these people are. Yeah, and when you grow big, you realize, but wait, at this them really have me a believe in her. At this them really have me a believe in her, Rasta. And you can imagine, 1 billion people have followed the Pope. Not to mention the one them who just go to the church and don't even know nothing about the Pope. Yes, 1 billion people have him as a vicar of Christ. Means say him represent Christ on earth. Yeah, represent Christ on earth. People believe that. Literally believe that. The vicar of Christ.
The Catholic Church and founded the Lutheran Church. Calvin didn't like the Lutheran Church and founded the Reformed or Calvinist Church. Henry VIII didn't like being denied Catholic marriage and founded the Anglican Church. John Smith disliked the Anglican Church and founded the Baptist Church. William Miller didn't like the Baptist Church and founded the Adventist. Ellen G. White really liked what William Miller said and founded the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Charles T. Russell didn't like the Adventist Church and founded Jehovah's Witnesses. Joseph Smith disliked the Methodist Church and founded the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the Mormons. John Wesley disliked the Anglican Church and founded the Methodist Church. Some pastors didn't like the Methodist Church and founded the Pentecostal Church. Many did not like the Pentecostal Church and founded thousands of churches like Stop Suffering, Assemblies of God, Light of the World, etc. The evangelical movement came from the Baptist Church, while the different born-again movement came from the evangelical churches. The born-again faith emerged in the late 1930s from the U.S., and it gained popularity in the 1970s and 1980s, its golden age. There are now 35,000 different so-called Christian religions who claims their interpretation of the Bible is the right one.
I tell you, man, believe you me. Believe you me.
What if I told you that God admits that he's evil? It's right there in the Bible. Isaiah 45 says, I form the light and create darkness. I bring peace and create evil. Hold on, God creates evil? That kind of screws up the whole God is good all the time thing, doesn't it? So if God created evil, then why is Satan blamed for everything? In Lamentations, it says, does not evil and good come from the mouth of the Most High? And let's talk about 1 Samuel 16. The Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul, and an evil spirit from the Lord tormented him. Yeah, God literally sent an evil spirit to torture someone. Even the book of Job proves this. God makes a bet with Satan to torture an innocent man basically for sport. But here's where it gets even crazier. What if Satan isn't God's enemy, but his shadow? Think about it. Carl Jung said that every person has a shadow side, the repressed hidden parts of ourselves that we don't want to admit is part of us. And the more you deny it, the more control it has over you. So if God is infinite, then that means he must contain everything, right? Light and dark, good and evil. So Satan isn't a separate being at all, but the part of God that he refuses to face. And if we're made in God's image, doesn't that mean we have a shadow side too? The church says to fear Satan, but the real danger isn't the darkness itself, it's pretending it's not there.
Hey folks, welcome to another edition of Questions Protestants Can't Answer. Today's question is, who wrote the Gospel of Mark? And how do you know? I'm John Martinoni, president and founder of the Bible Christian Society. And today's question is focused on the idea of sola scriptura, which is Latin for the Bible alone, or the Bible only, which is one of the fundamental pillars of most of Protestantism, that we can know all we need to know about our Christian faith and about Christian morals by simply picking up the Bible and reading. So this question, who wrote the book of Mark, is a very important question, because what it does is, if all I need to know about Christianity I get from the Bible, if the Bible is my sole authority in matters of faith and morals, which it is for most Protestants, how can they answer that question? Because nowhere in the Bible does it tell us who wrote the book of Mark. This thing right here at the beginning of the Gospel of Mark in Scripture that says the Gospel according to Mark, that's not inspired Scripture. That's put in there by the publisher of the Bible. We don't have any originals from Mark that say, I, Mark, wrote this Gospel, or that say the Gospel according to Mark. So again, if you go by the Bible alone, how do you know that Mark wrote Mark? That somebody named Mark even wrote Mark? And how do you know that that Mark was inspired? Where in the Bible does it tell you who wrote the Gospel of Mark so that you may trust that it is inspired Scripture? Because if you don't know who wrote it, how can you know it's inspired scripture? This is very, very important. So as Catholics, we need to ask everyone who believes in the Bible alone as their sole rule of faith, who wrote Mark? And if they say Mark, the secretary of Peter and companion of Paul, the next question is, how do you know? Because I read Mark and there's nothing here that says, I, Mark, companion of Peter and Paul, wrote this gospel. Nothing in Luke that tells me, nothing in Paul's letters that tells me who wrote the Gospel of Mark. So what authority are you relying on? It's not the scriptures to know who wrote Mark. So again, the question is, who wrote the Gospel of Mark, and how do you know? Think about it. Pray about it.
I tell you, say, in the Bible, that sin for a man have long hair. Does not nature teach you? A man no have long hair. You still every picture of Jesus when you see have long hair. That terrible thing. Yes, Hail.
Hail Muta.
Ah, blessed man.
Yeah. Listen, you know that despite all of the efforts of the present Keir Starmer regime here in Britain and things, more people than ever coming across from France.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, yeah, they admit technically that they have lost control of them borders, trying to prevent refugees, asylum seekers coming over, because people still coming over in waves, yes?
Yeah.
Because you know, Muta, you see when people make up their mind and determine to go to a place, them go there,
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
No matter what.
No matter what. So, all of the talk about preventing and then making things they can prevent and get the Navy and things to stop, not working. Britain has lost control of preventing people from coming over from France and so. And also, the French have not been interested in stopping people coming in boats or whatever and things. Yes, So, them lose that thing. But as you and I know, the reason why so many people come here is because of what the British Empire did in their countries.
Of course.
Yes.
Come this man
to want to go other people's country and take over other people's country, but don't want people to come here, can't work. Or we have them in Australia, New Zealand, Canada, USA. All of them go and invade and kill the native people and take with them land. And then when people want to return and come now, them don't like that. Can't work. Can't have them care.
And then make the people them land miserable too. For
exactly.
Living and them colonize it and, poison it and all them something there.
True, and only take away the raw materials and deliberately don't have no farm and industrial development because them don't want them countries that have any good standards of living and them things there. Yes, and things. And Muta, we talk about it more time and things. But you see African religions and spirituality, like Obia, and in Haiti them call it voodoo and things, they must be legalized in Jamaica. Because you and I know that the reason why the English them did say that Obia is illegal and things is because those African religions were used to inspire the
rebellion.
Africans like Taki in St. Mary rebellion. Yes.
Rebellion.
Yes, you know what I mean? So same way, with me, say the Christians and Muslims in Jamaica and elsewhere are going to vex when me say things like that. But our African religions, Obia and other things, must be legalized and recognized in Jamaica. Yes. And
I want to tell you something, I want you for the reggae artists, them perpetuate the madness about Obia too,
Yes, true.
Because them come out of Christian mindset. And even the Rasta one, them, when them are saying, them talk about Obia in the negative continuously.
Yes.
I never hear them have nothing bad to say about Christianity.
No. It's true. You know, this Christian thing. You know, one of the things that protect shake them up to, you know. We say, what about people in the world who never know nothing about Christianity?
And dead. Dead before them know about it.
Yeah. The vast majority of people in the world never know nothing about Christianity and Islam and things. So what happened to them soul? What happened to them and them thing there? Nonsense. It's religious imperialism. Want to terrorize people with them religion and them things. You have millions of people who did born and pass away. We know nothing about Jesus Christ or Muhammad and them things there. So I say, because them never know, them go to so-called hell where them go.
Well, that's why we keep playing all of these tapes by Ben Buchanan and people like Ben.
Dr. Ben.
We play them to make people hear and say, I know me when I say it, because when them hear me say it, them I say, Muta talking foolishness.
Them like say, are you alone? I put it on
make it
but
up,
it's the truth. Yeah, true. Dr. Ben, man, no old elder brethren did some great work showing these things. And as you and I know, the 10 so-called commandments is 10 out of 42 from our African ancestors.
They call it negative confession. A long time I don't play it, you know. Should I play it tonight, yeah?
Yeah, man, you play it again because you know it go. You know, you play certain things and then you ease off because some holy things to play and then you circulate it again. And the next thing, Muta, you and I and people like us here, we are here to receive reparations on behalf of our ancestors. It's not going away. We're there. You know?
Yeah.
Yes, because my great-great-grandmother and father, who the English them give the name Charles and Sarah Hill, in the time 1834 was Africans. Them was in Manchester, coffee plantation. Them never get any reparations and things. So I, as their descendant, I'm here today just like you, as descendant of your ancestors too, or Africans. We are here to collect reparations on their behalf.
Yeah, as I talk about that, it's what kind of demonstration Mr. go on in England there. Everybody about them flag.
Happened? No, what happened is that there's a group, protesting on behalf of the people in Palestine, in Gaza, and that type of thing. Okay. And them trying to ban the organization.
Oh, yeah.
Because they do not want people to protest on behalf of the people who are dying in the West Bank and in Gaza, etc., and so on. So that, which is very, very wrong. Them don't want any protest. In other words, any protest must only be for the Israelis, but not for the people who are suffering. Yeah. And that cannot work. And you notice, Trump with him like saying destroy Iran's nuclear capabilities at the 3 places. A lie, you know. Exaggeration.
You know, the weirdest part of that thing there, just as you must say it, you know, the Iranian them send some bomb missile over in a Tel Aviv. There.
What are? In a Tel Aviv, yes.
In a Tel Aviv.
Right there in a Tel Aviv.
And today, last night, man, they send some more over there, man, that they might try to show him, say, look here, man, you think, say, Iran has some little pure, we're not
exactly. It's like him feel, say, him done them by joining in and things. And you notice that there was a Democrat brother, congressman, who bring impeachment thing against him.
And
120 of the Democrats then join with the Republicans to prevent the impeachment from going through. But everything that the man from Texas who brought it said is true.
Yeah.
Because that war thing when him do is illegal.
Well, you have to take a break.
Yes, Muta. Muta, you know that after our ancestors, our African ancestors won, then rise up and win them freedom in 1834 in Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean and things. That and got no reparations. But the racists them get 20 million, which was 40% of the annual budget of the British government at the time. That my great-great-grandparents, Charles and Sarah Hill in Manchester, them had to buy land because they wanted more land from them farmer enslaver, a boy named Napier in API yard. Can you imagine that?
Well, I don't know still. Them say a government land and them say the people that...
Had to buy, they had insult to injury, had to buy. And at the time, because I see the documents and things, it was paid in coffee because it was a coffee plantation in Manchester. So certain amount of coffee as payment. And I saw where my great-great-grandfather made the X to show, say, in paying that amount of coffee. Yes. And our people don't get nothing. And they have some idiot people don't want me and you another Pan-Africanist to talk about reparations. No.
But I want to tell you something, I want to tell you something, all right. According to them, government land, the people supposed to be the government,
Precisely.
But, wait now. So them want, we know, to buy the land from the politician them who say them I represent me, which is the government, and give them taxes. Me must pay taxes for my own land, because government land, and me are the government, me are part of the government, and me are going to pay some politician. Why must, who design taxes for land were owned by government? Why you should have paid taxes for land were owned by government? It's not a private ownership. And we are the government, because Marcus Garvey saying that the philosophy and opinions of Marcus Garvey, there can be no government without people. So therefore, government must be an expression of the will of the people. And no private politicians, exactly as you say. It's true. We must pay. You want a piece of land for build a house, pan. And them say that a government land. You must go to government now to apply for the land, pay taxes on the land and all them something. Why? Why you pay taxes on the land? Who invent that? Who invent that? White people invent that.
Exactly. Them invent that as a way of stifling and keeping down our...
The farmers slave them, yes. We never used to pay taxes for land in Africa.
And then PNP and GLP continue with the same practice because if they was dealing with anything to the rights of the people, they will say, no, this is a racist thing to keep down African people. Yes, it's true. None of that supposed
and you have to go build house again, you have to go run water, you have to go run light, and pay for the light, pay for the water, because they must supply the water and the light to you. But at the land, I know they pay more.
Exactly, about land tax, property tax. It's true. And Muta, we have to keep pressuring on that. That's the Lego and then thing there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that is why we say the philosophy and opinion must be in Jamaican schools. I see one is I praise some European girl about she write so-called book about Marcus Garvey, court case and things. As Marcus Garvey said, philosophy and opinion, no non-African can write about me. Only we can write about ourselves.
Who is write it? Tell me who is write it.
I see the video where Andrew won it, some European female.
All right, about Marcus.
Yes, about some court case when they win in Jamaica. What we want is the philosophy and opinions of Marcus Garvey in the schools. We don't want no non-African can write anything on our behalf. We write for ourselves because it's our story. And everything them want to come in and control our people mentally and otherwise. None of that. See? And what Andrew wanted to do is to make the philosophy and opinions a part of the curriculum, right? Instead I praise up this European female girl, but she are right and helping to record our story. Only we can record our story. We are Africans. No, non-African can do that. Only we can do that. You know what I mean?
So you did say Leroy Gibbons there, right?
Yes, man. My brethren, man, the type of boy I started heart attack studio there and over. Come from Gregory Park. I remember me not telling you in 1987, we did bring in when Arrow Sound did come in.
Oh, yeah, you talk about it already. We talk about it.
Yeah, man. I tell you, the amount of people where
fast, quick, you know, every month.
Yes, irrespective of age, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
irrespective of age, you know. And we did tell you about Carlton Brown there, who was in my era technical there, who passed away, you know, throat cancer. But he's gonna be buried in Jamaica, you know, and in July. So I will give the details because I know what the Parkinson technical people of that era will want to go and thing, you know what I mean? You know.
All right.
Yeah, man, but me love all the Iranians, them I deal with them, you know. And you see it, Muta, the Chinese, the North Koreans and Russia realize that they have to help Iran. Because if they don't help Iran too, it's more pressure upon them.
Yeah. I think say the Russian them have some Iran weapon them at Stockway.
Yes,
I think
man.
so.
The Iranians make drones and things them where them use in the war in Ukraine and thing, you know. Yeah, man.
There are some of them are used for Israel in Tel Aviv, and some of them are used in Tel Aviv there.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, man.
But I see so they move the one them where Trump go after. I think they move them before the bombing thing they go on, you know.
No, man, they must move, man. They must move because you see from him a threaten. They don't know Obama and them thing. They never know idiot and thing.
I tell the people they must leave Tehran. Tell them must leave Tehran. A madman.
Them have them scattered all over Iran, man. And as you know, Iran is a very big country.
Yeah, 90 million people.
They're not going everything in a one place. It's scattered, man. So
that big embarrassment for them, though. You know, before that, they talk about the bomb them with them having them alone have them kind of bomb there.
Yeah.
We can penetrate the earth 200 feet.
Yeah, penetrate. Run Trump and run up his mouth, man. You know, they start cause so-called bad word.
The man cause some...
in a frustration, I use the F word.
Hey, the whole world fight with it, you know. Hey, I know the first people cause a bad word, you know, but publicly, that way there, and the first... The whole world ever hear a head of state. They got the F word them way there, though.
Him is one of a kind. Him is something else. And him is a convicted criminal. Convicted felon. I tell you, the USA, and you know when my big brother in LA tell me, he must say, we must make the distinction between the No Kings movement, which is people in the States who say them don't want Trump, no king business,
rule America, yeah.
And also the ICE, the resistance against the ICE thing, because in California, it is the Mexicans, you see, protesting against the ICE thing.
Yeah.
And so, because
them all on mostly.
Yes, it's the Mexicans them deport. So, you know, France must make sure to make that distinction.
No, man, that's true, man, because the Mexicans, them are the one that work on the field, them, you know. Pick strawberry and them
and as we know, California, the biggest state, was part of Mexico. And 55%
and Texas too. Texas too.
Yes. And many other states, Arizona, Florida, and so, because 55% of what is the 50 states in the USA was part of Mexico. It's war again them use to teach them land from the Mexican. And they want to tell people about truth, all right. Yeah, man. Just go and keep up the good work, Muta, because I just people like me and you and Cabo and other Pan-Africanists do the work. Because it's constant education. So keep on keeping on.
Yeah, man, we are going to
every time.
All right. Yeah.
Yes. Pleasant good night to you and also to Radio.
Thanks, man.
I want to condolence to Gibbon's family because I'm a real singer, you know.
Yeah, man.
Paying dues. Respect to those who pay their dues. I want to say, look, you to get washed down a White House one day. My God, man, what a thing, man.
Yeah. Sad.
Rough, man. You know, so me pass the school one day and I look for the school thing there. The Jane come right across in front of the school, you know, because the school there right at the seaside.
You mean the school on Westmoreland there?
Yes, man.
Okay.
The seaside the school there, you know. So the Jane come across the school, so I don't know, big Jane, you know, man. So you can put some railing on it still. But they don't have to jump over. You understand? Because you know them constantly go jump over. Yeah. Put the railing on even some pipe reel up and make it not too happen again. Oh God, man, it's a burden star.
Burden, yes. Burden.
Imagine I send a youth go to school, man, and hear say that happen, man. God, Mr. Man, you feel it, man, is a weird.
Most.
So I go on up top there. How rain are you up there?
Rain fall every day, man.
Rain fall every day, man. Rain fall in a season, man.
What?
Rain fall in a season, man.
So when I lie, me I tell you.
No, I'm not say I tell a lie, but it not fall every day. Fall someplace every day.
No, but you can't tell. You ask me how it's going up in my area.
You say it fall every day.
Then that me say so where tell me say about rain not fall every day.
But you can't go tell me so no like you want me to tell you say I tell lie on yourself. Me no in a them.
No, but if me tell you say rain fall every day, you tell me say rain fall every day, fall every season, in season.
In a season, man, if it fall every day, whole place will flood out, man. Earth.
Me say, which part me live, rain fall every day.
Which part you live, rain fall every day?
Where me live, in my yard, rain fall every day.
Right, who is me to say me not did it?
No, then you know the way I come contradict what I say for.
You judge as a sinner, man, and I can't take no more sin for me, you know. Sin for me, you know.
Yeah, well not tell me about me rainfall in season. You think what they see rain are different for when people are telling about a rainy month, rainy time. Them things that done with now in the earth. Rainfall when it won't fall.
Yeah, that may I say for true, but
they don't see man neck up the place now. Rain have no special time to fall again, you know.
Rain have no special time.
Yeah, they know that's what we're talking about season about.
No, but you say every day.
Then every day I say, every day I mean, me know what every day I mean, you know. Every day I mean Monday, Tuesday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Every day.
From Sunday to Sunday, man, and not Sunday to Saturday.
Yeah, man, I'm going to talk something else, buddy. Tell me where you call for.
Call 51 2-line of poetry, man.
Say it then, stop talk. Everything me say I contradict it. With the poetry, talk the poetry.
All right. I, Jeffrey, have to smoke my herbs from January. Now January is over, February is here. I've got to plant my herbs to get it to burn right through the era. March I start to chop my herb passer. Live for a worldly casa. My string of herb must come first and not last. April my herb them look well. Must put the buyer them under spell. And the whole of the herb man them as well. Me and my herb them look pretty. When I'm coming to see, I man just have to jump up and pray. My string of herb must touch a highway. From Kingston to Montego Bay. The place make rubber them take it away today. because tomorrow will be June. So I'm going to be getting some herbs soon. They plan to go make a spell in the afternoon. I'll look more the night to light the two bright from the moon. I can't afford for them steal I herbs I look like cartoon. Because next month is July. And them herb people love to lie. When them look right in your eye. When them bush a spy, but somebody are going to die. I go to the plan to make a first cut back at December. Thanks for your time out and always respect. Always tune into the program.
Bless you, man. Give thanks. Give thanks.
Bless.
All right. So we're going to play this thing out. This one we're going to play, we have been playing for years. It come from 42, what them call it, Confessions. It's from Kemet. This is where the 10 Commandments come from. Historically, this is where the 10 Commandments come from. The one we have in your Bible, where them say, God gave Moses 10 Commandments. Well, this is the original 42 of them, and them take out 10. You know, my whole heap of music. But you don't know I'm a Gideon time, don't it? Why you love Willie, you know? Yeah, why you love Willie Williams, trust me.
The Church of England once owned a sugar plantation on Barbados that profited it about £5 million a year in today's money. They purchased slaves from West Africa and subjected them to inhuman treatment, including having the word society branded on their chests with a hot iron to show that they were the property of the church. Previous Archbishop of Canterbury actually chaired the meetings approving the purchase of more slaves for the plantation. They were needed because so many had died as a result of their inhuman treatment. The church also enslaved children as workers too. The wealth the church enjoys today and its ownership of vast parts of the land and real estate of England and its prestige is because of this shameful blood money from the past. The Catholic Church and many of the popes were no better, abusing the innocent and forcing them into slavery. People often trust religion, religious people, and the church. They shouldn't. It has little, if anything, to do with God or Jesus. It is a human system spawned, controlled, and dominated by men. It is responsible for atrocities throughout history, even up to our present day.
Yes. Take heed. Take heed. Listen well to what I have to tell. Serious, serious things. Okay, here we go again. Here we go again.
The Israel in the Bible is not the same Israel as today. And I know what you're thinking, and you're already jumping into conclusions, but hear me out. People are over here fighting and debating over a misunderstanding of what Israel actually means. They think that the modern Israel is the same as the Israel God promised in the Bible. It's not. In the Bible, Israel means two things. First, Israel was a person. In Genesis 32, Jacob wrestled with God, literally fought him all night long. And after that, God changed his name to Israel, which means he struggles with God. Second, Israel became a nation. Jacob's 12 sons became the 12 tribes of Israel, God's chosen people. But hear this out. They were not chosen because of their land. They were chosen because of God's promise. The nation of Israel existed under kings like David and Solomon. But guess what? They lost their land. They were exiled because they turned away from God. Fast forward today, Israel was founded in 1948 as a political state. But that's not the same as biblical Israel. It's not ruled by biblical law. Not everyone there is a descendant of the 12 tribes. And the land does not define God's people. Faith does. So when people think that defending modern-day Israel is the same as defending God's chosen people, no, you're missing the whole point of Scripture. God's Israel was never about land, but about a relationship with Him.
The Council of Nicaea was an effort by Constantine to control the people through military and through religion. Whoever can control your concept of God has a weapon more powerful than any physical weapon, than any sword, any gun, any atomic weapon. Whoever controls how you relate to the unseen presence of God will not only control you, but can control your children and your children's children. So it was at the Council of Nicaea that the Constantine, this emperor, needed to find a way to consolidate his power, because the people that he conquered in various parts of the world had different religions, different ideologies. And it was at Nicaea where he brought together these theologians, these scholars, if you will, to hammer out one uniform theology that everyone would follow.
And if Constantine could convince people to take Jesus as God on earth and change that he was a human being, then they could take over the control of the Catholic Church and make one. So they invited. And one of the priests was an African known as Arius, Bishop Arius. There's a book called Blacks Who Died for Jesus by Mark Hyman. Gives the story of Arius. Arius now gets word that Constantine knows Arius is coming to dispute this. Because he's saying, how are you going to tell people this? Nobody's going to believe that story. That Immaculate Conception, come on. You know, that's written on the walls of Egypt. That's a mythology. That's an analogy. You're not supposed to believe that story. That's a nice story to live by, that each and every one of us has Jesus within us and every birth is an Immaculate Conception. But there was no one boy born as the Son of God, the freak. Come on, you can't. Constantine said, look, come on over here. Nicaea, I want to talk to you. He found out that he was going to be assassinated. So he fled into Europe with his followers. Arius and his followers became known as the Aryans. Wouldn't Hitler have a heart attack if he knew who the real Aryans were? They were a bunch of black folk.
Everybody who was worshiping ISIS and dealing with mostly a Kemetic religious philosophy, they said, we can't do this. This is ridiculous. This reminds me, there's no man called Jesus Christ. We ain't never heard of him. Well, Jesus Christ will take Jesus, which was the sun god in the West, and we'll take Christos, which was the sun god in the East, and we'll put them together. We'll have a name. And so what did he do? A man named Apollonius of Tyana, at that time, who had studied philosophy in Kemet, was teaching. He was a healer, working miracles. He was a hero at that time. So he became the template for Jesus Christ.
The first.
Okay. I want to now listen to these things. Wake up. Wake up. Yeah, give thanks to those who can sit up with me and listen to these things. Because it's going to come back for you later on. Yeah, man, trust me, man. That is what my experience teach me. That over the years, we have been playing these things. A couple of years well before it's soaking at somebody and then them call me back. Yeah, call me back. That's a more time about that thing the way you play. I remember you played long time, man. I don't remember which year. But it come back to them. Come back to them. I was glad to know that, but sometimes I remember when I played, and that's the problem. So you better remember it from now, soak it in. Why you're the virgin who, every minute I play something, him call me, ask me, who him can get that, which tape that, who said that, and all them were there. Long time him I listen, long time. Why you Rum Lane, you know. Rum Lane, why I tell you, man, you stay with me, virgin. You stay with me.
The following are true stories. May 26, 2003, Aaron Ralston was hiking. A boulder fell on his right hand. He waited 4 days. Then he amputated his own arm with a pocket knife. On New Year's Eve, a woman was bungee jumping in Zimbabwe. The cord broke. She then fell into a river and had to swim back to land in crocodile-infested waters with a broken collarbone. Claire Champlin was smashed in the face by a 5-pound watermelon being prepared. I guess things could have been worse. So go ahead. Tell me that you're having a bad day. Tell me about the traffic. So when your shoulders feel heavy, stand up straight, lift your chin. Hell, call it exercise. Remember that life is a gym membership with a really
powerful. You are alive. That's what the man talking about. You are alive.
Enough. I'm 86 years old, and sadly, I'm basically sitting on my deathbed. I have millions of dollars in the bank, but I can't buy. But I'm all alone now. Soulless and obsessive compulsive pursuit of some pot of gold at the end of some rainbow.
Years ago, they came and asked me, Sadhguru, my job is too much tension, I can't bear it. So I blessed him, may you be fired. He said, no, Sadhguru. I said, what? What's the problem? If you have a job, you're suffering it. If you lose your job, you suffer it. So you better look at it. This is not about the job. Right now, we need to understand this. Your tension, your stressfulness has nothing to do with the job or the work or the business situation that you're conducting. It is your inability to manage your own mind, your body, your chemistry, your energies. You're not able to manage this human mechanism. Because there is friction within, every job seems to be stressful. You just look at the world, any kind of job people are complaining they're stressful, isn't it? See, if people are poor, they suffer poverty. You make them rich, they suffer taxes. If they're not educated, they suffer that. Put them to school, endless suffering. If they're not married, they suffer that. Get them married, I won't say anything. So this is not because there is something wrong with your life situation. Your inability to manage this. If you know how to manage this, I'm saying, have you invested any time as to how to manage this one? If your mind took instructions from you, would you create stress or bliss? If your mind took instructions from you, would you create stress or bliss? Definitely bliss. So obviously your mind is not taking instructions from you. People come to me like this, any number of people. Somebody comes and says, oh, my boss is horrible, I can't bear it. My wife, she is terrible. My husband is unbearable. My mother-in-law, impossible. So I say, you come, don't worry. You come with me, you stay with me. Your husband, wife, boss, mother-in-law, nobody will enter this place. I will give you a nice place to stay, good food to eat, nothing to do. You just have to be joyful, that's all. Once in a way, at random, I will check you and you must be joyful. If you're miserable, I don't believe in feeding misery, okay? But you will see within 24 hours in how many ways they twist themselves if they're alone. See, if you're alone and you're miserable, obviously you're in bad company, isn't it?
That's funny. That is very funny. If you're alone and feel miserable, it means that he's in bad company. Yeah, that's great. That's good, that's good. If you're alone and miserable, it means that he's in bad company.
At the age of 56 from pancreatic cancer with a capital of $7 billion. These are just some of his last words. At this moment, lying in bed ill and remembering my whole life, I realize that all the recognitions and wealth are insignificant in the presence of imminent death. As we get older, we get smarter, and we slowly understand that whether the clock is worth $30 or $300, they both show the exact same time. Whether we drive a $150,000 car or a $2,000 car, we will arrive at the same destination. There are 5 facts that cannot be denied. 1, don't educate your children to be rich. Educate them to be happy so that when they grow up, they will know the value of things and not their price. 2, eat your food as medicine. Otherwise, you will have to eat your medicine as food. 3, the one who loves you will never leave you. Even if you have 100 reasons to give up, you will always find a reason to hold on. 4, there is a big difference between being a human and being human. 5, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together.
All right, you have to play over that. You have to play it over.
Listen this very carefully. Steve Jobs died as a billionaire at the age of 56 from pancreatic cancer with a capital of $7 billion. These are just some of his last words. At this moment, lying in bed ill and remembering my whole life, I realize that all the recognitions and wealth are insignificant in the presence of imminent death. As we get older, we get smarter, and we slowly understand that whether the clock is worth $30 or $300, they both show the exact same time. Whether we drive a $150,000 car or a $2,000 car, we will arrive at the same destination. There are 5 facts that cannot be denied. 1, don't educate your children to be rich. Educate them to be happy so that when they grow up, they will know the value of things and not their price. 2, eat your food as medicine. Otherwise, you will have to eat your medicine as food. 3, the one who loves you will never leave you. Even if you have 100 reasons to give up, you will always find a reason to hold on. 4, there is a big difference between being a human and being human. 5, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together.
Yes. This is the cutting edge. You're going to take a break and come forward. Break.
Yeah, man. All right. Shift a little bit, Muta. Muta, the youth, them can't send me to school. The government should pay the YMCA to teach them youth everything. Because too much of them youth, they are drowning.
Like how much of them are drowning?
Yeah, man, a couple of them well, I mean, every day 2 drowning, but I mean, if the youth, them, Australian, I think the government should have a program for help them. You ever fly over Miami at Muta and look down like when you come over Portmore? I notice every house almost have a swimming pool.
No, I never noticed a part that.
Yeah, man, when you go to Miami, I fly over and look, most of the houses have a swimming pool. But I feel the government must have a program where...
Most of the houses over Portmore have swimming pool?
No, like when you fly, like how we fly over Portmore.
Yeah.
Like, but no, you know, it's about 2 pools over Portmore, but
okay.
I think it will make it a part of them culture still. You understand? But they are not for that still, you know. But, and I said, Muta, where I don't know how to apply it, but so many radio stations in Jamaica, none of them now do the same everyday thing. Foolishness, Muta, nothing with our black culture and politics, foolishness. I know, sir, politician and religion, nah, with black people. Because I always used to go in my old man room, go take out money all time, thing that I always say, the devil, picture of the devil, black with a hand and fat. And this Jesus Christ, blue eye, innocent. I'm go on many house Muta. And that me say, and the black people, them still pauperized. You understand? Muta, I have a friend, him lecture theology, highly intelligent you. Him lecture theology, and a man make me know say them things don't exist. And I'm about what if a pastor friend or graduate who don't believe in a Jesus Christ, but what them do? Because what? The people them want it. And you say, well, you say state and church and state. The state really keep the church there for brainwash the people and play them the rebellion about that. For them say, all right, we'll reward them. And there's no such thing, Muta. Because you are ward. Imagine, you are ward. The slave master them and the people them will work and toil. You don't give them nothing at all. And it will go on from then. And now, Israel can't do anything about it. Israel can't do anything. True US, you know. US are hypocrite to push them, you know. I look for US here, it's saying God we trust. So where God not supposed to be love Muta, God not supposed to be a God of peace. And you know, to the church, them not saying nothing about US or go. A US ambassador, them answer, just like up until this very minute, the Ministry of National Security, I'm on their right church, don't go to the embassy. So them answer say, we need other people them who work X, Y, and Z for extradite them so we can't try them for them allow gun for coming to our city, our country and kill half the youth. And then the police had to take a zero tolerance and kill. Then everything just goes silent. You know, the gun thing just go silence motor.
Yeah.
Just like the tree, just like the $3 trillion, just like the 31.5 million machine. And them start advertising with the machine. And we are say, we don't have nobody in Jamaica apart from motor and carbo.
Where's about the machine a while ago? Where's about the machine?
The machine, my money about the machine, you know, this goes silent, but the Ministry of Health, I tell you, the miracle the machine can do motor. They might advertise the price of the machine evaporate or vanish, you know. But they might tell you the miracle the machine can do.
Oh, yeah?
It's amazing motor, yeah. The much purpose of the machine and the doctor them is like them can resurrect the death with the machine. And nobody did it.
That's what them say. Them can resurrect the dead with the machine.
In my own word, them say the machine is one of the greatest things about to the Jamaican children.
Since Jesus Christ.
Since Jesus Christ. I mean, I say, wow. And then Andrew only steady. I say, oh, him do the government work when I'm advertisement. And I'm saying motor. As Aspar say and Andrew say, term limit. Andrew the talk about term limit now. And Andrew the do a portion during Bruce time and the 2 term. Give me one reason now, motor, why Andrew want to win a 3rd term or a 4th term.
So I'm trying to better for the Jamaican public.
But them say a 5-8 with a better motor and PJ come and run 18 and a half and I see Jamaican people like better motor. And don't. Motor, I look to a thing on YouTube, the 10 richest family motor. Cool Syrian, people from all over, not one black family in it. Leachin, Matalan, Hissa, Mafu. I mean, if I promote them, because they're not going to advertisement. And not one black family in our country motor. So there and then, it tells me as a youth, and a Rasta come educate me when me become big to say, yeah, all of them things there. I just keep on black people as false prophet. Rasta come and teach you about with self-esteem, our color, our hair. You understand? No white man, no politician, none of them night come save Jamaican people. I ever tell them out there, let me see the politician come near me in the lane. And I say, wow, that's how you talk for me. I say, I'm good. And I say, wow, them people do anything for money. You know, one reason why Andrew want to win now, and what is it now PNP can do after them? I already do 18 and a half years, and the people in life no better motor. Tell me now, Jesus Christ.
Him say, the unemployment gone down.
The unemployment gone down?
Yeah, that him say.
Motor, things that me not pick up next crime gone down. Motor, they must say anything for an election because they must pay them people for suppress this. They must say anything.
Crime gone, you know, it's a gun crime gone down. You don't believe that?
You must say a little where, because of the stand of the police they might take.
Okay.
But me say a little, but we don't want gun crime gone. We want to start free the duppy and dog motor. And some used to grow up when they come from.
You're not going to get you that gun, so. You're not going to get you that gun. You must have gun crime still. But
yeah, because the tear motor.
We did have it the other day. It's not unacceptable. Unacceptable, man. No, it can't down. You can kind of ease up your mind after that, but I don't think so you have a society where you don't have no gun man and shoot nobody.
Yeah, that's true, Muta. We're not honest with that. That's true, but we can't have a society where we run from dog and up in motor. We can't just
discipline. No people run from dog, all right?
I just think discipline motor. And then when you have a certain set of people, motor, glorify the money. Yeah. And the people on Maxwell Avenue, Spanish Town Road, Waltham, and downtown, go downtown, behind KPH and see the sewage water around like Dunsby. I drive through the motor, because my daughter, a baby, so I have to carry her.
Which part you drive? Which part?
You see, as a pass, Denham Town School, so I'm at the left there, I end up on a KPH. Motor is a disgrace. The sewage water
around
like Duns River. Muta, I bet you 100,000 around night.
And the police station, the right on the side.
The police station, just for 100 meters. When you make a left turn, it's about 4 inches, you go straight for Gotiva, you make a left there, so. And me I said, and the Muta, the saddest thing about it, you know, the ear of Muta, the ear is so filthy and run on that when I come back with my daughter, I show my daughter to him, I tell my daughter to them, here I used to walk, you know, go Majestic and go theater, I'm a friend, man. The ear are better. So, who represent these areas? Politicians.
From them
time, where am I get a thing called constituent to fund to improve the constituent motor. The terrible motor go down there, terrible, and then the leader like PG, Bruce Cullen and Andrew is supposed to hold them MP accountable for the development of the year. They just come on TV and tell about job description and go silent motor.
We're responsible for them.
Our funny mouth person, Desmond,
yeah.
Mr. Mota, it's a shame, not the rubbish. It's worse than River Town City Mota. Not change Mota, the style walker broke your foot.
I'm pass on a Raytown. And Raytown worse than when we used to live down there right now. Over the years, not change.
But Mota, I tell my daughter we used to take 62 bus and every bus and we live all up, ready and come down. And I go market. It's like you want to go market with your mother. You want to go to the railway station. I tell her, Mota, I say, where's the improvement? And then we are talking about crime. And Mota, if it's a rubbish, you have a box, you know. If you're not disciplined enough, you have church, you know. And the leader them will go to this big high school is supposed to be highly educated. But I'm say, we don't need an educated person, we need people with vision. We're supposed to set the example. Mota, the man, them abandon the era. I went my era. I don't know Peter Phillips Mota. I never see Peter Phillips run out none of my era yet. Never. I mean, I thought the more I live and so never the two-piece. Never ever. I mean, it's about them man I get a salary a month. But Mota, election are forward now, Mota, like the man them leave the place, string off with red thing. It's string off with green thing. I mean, I say, black people, BLACK, black people, wise up now. We can't expect change and do the same thing over and over. On our lunatic, wise up. And the leader now, all the MP, them comfortably in a motor. Them not having the people that live in a spoil and filth and dirt and mess. And you want the people that have a different mindset. And you say, wow, and these people I get 300,000%.
And when them retire, them get the same amount of money, you know.
Then can I talk about 17,000 minimum wage or whatever, and you sell the generalship motor. For them pay go up to 1,000,000%, you know, but it don't make inflation go up, but when the little man forget money, the inflation go.
We have to move though.
But motor quickly, remember biz up two nurse the motor. Nurse Camden, nurse Tina, and nurse Ellington, and security officer security officer Miss Brown.
All right, good time. Yeah.
Big up motor.
Yeah, Irish. Cool. Great time.
As a public passenger taxi on the Old-Trace to St. Anne's Bay Road. Those killed are the taxi driver and the passenger. Police have not yet established a motive for the double murder. Based on preliminary reports, 4 men, including the driver, were aboard the taxi, and upon reaching Mama Bay, 2 passengers asked to be let off at the intersection to Greenwich Acres. The 2 men who exited the vehicle reportedly brandished guns and opened fire on the driver and the other passenger, killing them before fleeing the area. The police were summoned and the roadway was cordoned off to allow for the processing of the crime scene. Traffic was being diverted through Greenwich Acres. There has been a 15% reduction in major crimes in the St. Catherine South Division. Commander for the division, Senior Superintendent Leighton Gray, says murders are down 30% and shootings are down 28%.
Portmore and the general St. Catherine South is doing very well in terms of our murder reduction in particular. Crime is on the down, murder, shooting is also down, and we have been doing well. We continue to enjoy the support of the citizens generally, and presently we are 30% reduction in murders. We are 28% reduction in shootings, and overall 15% reduction in overall major crimes. So we have been enjoying a very good time.
In giving an update to Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness, SSP Gray explains that the police met with residents yesterday. He says efforts continue to discourage young males from a life of crime.
Well, overall it is reducing. However, you will have youngsters still engaged. However, we met with them yesterday, the residents of Brayton, Reedspen area. Yes. We had a very good meeting with the residents. And as a management of the division, we went there, have that meeting, and we are trying to make some amends, but we continue to implore on the youngsters to stay away from the life of crime and stop getting involved with criminal activities and have illegal firearms.
The St. Catherine South Police Chief adds that officers have been monitoring the traffic situation in the area.
We have been doing well. So far, with the expansion that took place in the Grange Lane space, as also along Municipal Boulevard, and so forth. That has eased the traffic somewhat, to the extent now that they are saying that we are pushing the traffic readily in the morning to 3 miles and also Marcus Garvey Drive. So we get them out very early, and so far, so good. The residents have been enjoying it well, and with possible further expansion that will take place here, definitely we'll get further easing.
Commander for the St. Catherine South Division, Senior Superintendent Leighton Gray. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness has pointed out that if peace is maintained in Spanish Town, St. Catherine, this would embolden more investors to set up business in the area. He was speaking yesterday at the opening ceremony of the MJS Industrial and Technology Park in Spanish Town. Dr. Holness noted that the former textile factory site had remained dormant due to the perception that the area was unsafe.
Now, if you were to consider why is it that no one else before now actually saw the vision for this old textile mill, it was because the perception was created that this area was not safe, and the cost that it would take from the private individual to make this place safe would make the business unprofitable. Do you see the weight that crime and violence places on our economic development? Do you see how it suppresses us? And do you see why we cannot be ambivalent in once and for all dealing with the gangs that are in the business of violence? They are not our friends. They mean us no good. We cannot be ambivalent about it. And they have held down Spanish Town for decades. I say to you today, if we achieve peace in Spanish Town, there would be a rushing sound of investors into this place. Why? Because you have a population that is largely well trained. You already have basic infrastructure in place. And you have some of the most creative people in and around this area.
Dr. Holness stressed that the authorities have been making significant gains in tackling crime and violence in Spanish Town, adding that criminals will not be allowed to prevent law-abiding citizens from achieving their goals.
So the government's strategy, which runs parallel to our economic strategy, is our strategy for peace. The less than 1,000 criminals who make Jamaica be perceived as unsafe can be easily addressed, and they have been largely addressed. And we will not relent in ensuring that those less than 1,000 people prevent the 3 million people who either are Jamaicans or people working and living here achieve their dreams and aspirations for self-fulfillment. I cannot be clearer about our strategy. Jamaica will attain peace as we have had peace in our country up to the 1960s, when our murder rate was the equivalent of that of the United States, less than 3 per 100,000. We will get back to that, and we will get back to that within this decade.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness, he described the over $50 million facility developed by Muslim Group as a meaningful chapter in Jamaica's journey towards reclaiming its industrial ambitions. A correctional officer is to reappear in court in October on charges of child assault stemming from an incident at the Metcalf Street Juvenile Center in Kingston on February 12 last year. Charged is Andrea Ricketts, who is employed to the Department of Correctional Services. It's alleged that the correctional officer gave instructions for a ward to slap another child in the face, causing his eardrum to rupture. Following an investigation by the Independent Commission of Investigation, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions ruled that Ricketts should be charged with causing a child to be assaulted contrary to the Child Care and Protection Act. Yesterday, Ricketts was placed before the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court in relation to the charge. He was bound over for the next court appearance on October 13. A targeted three-pronged strategy will guide the selection of beneficiaries under the $1 billion Solidarity Program. Through the program, thousands of vulnerable Jamaicans will receive one-time cash grants of between $20,000 and $50,000. To be eligible, persons should not be receiving benefits through the Program of Advancement through Health and Education, PATH, the National Insurance Scheme, NIS, and Social Pension Program. Those who received reverse income tax credit are also not eligible. Speaking at the program's launch this morning, Labour and Social Security Minister Pernell Charles Jr. said beneficiaries will be identified through referrals from community leaders and civil society, direct outreach by ministry teams, and self-referrals by eligible individuals.
We will select beneficiaries for the Solidarity Program through three main channels. First, members of Parliament and civil society will work together to provide referrals, of course, with our Solidarity team. And we will rely on the deep community knowledge that our MPs have, along with the network that the civil society groups, NGOs, churches, faith-based organizations have to help to identify and to recommend in total 30,000 of the 50,000 individuals who are most in need. Secondly, the ministry's team, which will comprise of at least 40 liaison officers specific to the Solidarity Program, will be working across the ministry, across the country, to carry out targeted interventions. This will include mobile drives, community visits, and daily engagement at our parish offices. And third, through self-referrals, eligible individuals will be able to apply directly using an upgraded, user-friendly digital platform built on the CARE system with full support from the Information and Communications Technology Authority. And this approach ensures that no matter where you are or how you're connected, there is a clear path to access.
Labour and Social Security Minister Pernell Charles Jr. Entertainment Minister Olivia Green says a health component of an insurance scheme for creatives will be launched soon. In her contribution to the sectoral debate in Parliament yesterday, Ms. Grange noted the concern many creatives have about inadequate insurance coverage. To address this, the Jamaica Entertainers and Creatives Insurance Plan was launched last November with features similar to the plan for athletes. The plan currently covers life and personal accidents.
So the Jamaica Entertainment and Creative Insurance Plan covers life and personal accident for over 3,750 entertainment practitioners who have been verified as bona fide practitioners on the National Registry of Entertainment and Creative Industries practitioners. And we have an e-registry where they're asked to register. So the plan covers death benefit, permanent disability, dismemberment depending on the injury, with accidental medical reimbursement of $50,000 under the personal accident plan. I am proud to announce that the group health component of the insurance plan will be launched shortly.
Ms. Green said the soon-to-be added health component will cover, among other things, telemedicine, consultations, and overseas emergency services.
The plan will include doctor's visit for routine medical, telemedicine, specialist consultation with or without referral, psychiatric, psychological care, direct access to gynecologists and ophthalmologists. Other benefits include diagnostic procedures such as laboratory and x-rays, surgery, maternity, overseas emergency medical services, and combined dental and optical. So it's a wide range being offered. They also will get support for prescription drugs, and I'm encouraging practitioners to combine all of this with JDIP and NHF and the other programs provided through the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. And we will help them to access these programs.
She urged creatives to sign up for the insurance scheme so that they can benefit from the offerings.
So, very shortly, persons in the entertainment industry and the creative sector will be able to take their health card and swipe their health card when they visit the doctor. Entertainers, however, may, if they require additional benefits that they can afford to pay for, the flexibility exists where they can top up the offerings that's being provided through this plan. Now, if someone wants to go to Tony Thwaites instead of KPH, they are free to go and pay the additional. But we have provided that base service that every practitioner should register on the e-registry and make use of this opportunity.
Entertainment Minister Olivia Grange. Persons living on government lands will be able to legally acquire those lands after 25 years if the People's National Party forms the next government. That declaration was made by opposition spokesperson on land, Nathan Cousins, during his contribution to the sectoral debate yesterday. He said, according to the law, persons living on crown lands are unable to acquire these lands until 60 years have passed. Mr. Cousins said modern times call for a review of these laws.
A person in adverse possession of crown land was unable to prove possession unless they reach the 60-year mark. Our research has shown, Mr. Speaker, that in countries like England where this law originated, it is now 10 years. The 60 years is now 10 years, save and except for land on the foreshore. The view of the UK Commission that reviewed the law is that in these modern times, the government has a duty of care to its citizens to protect crown lands and to ensure their productive use. It is no longer permissible to use the explanation of the large acreage or resource constraints to restrict persons from occupying these lands.
Mr. Cousins said under a PNP-led administration, a reduction from 60 to 25 years will be implemented, with those lands on the foreshores remaining at 60 years.
Under the next PNP government, we are proposing the reduction of 60 years to 25 years. Save and except for land on the foreshore. We believe this is ample time for the government to ensure that protections are in place. A PNP government will move with alacrity to amend the Registration of Titles Act to provide for a shorter time frame for persons who have been living on government land to claim it. The same rules that apply to the private owner must be commensurate with those that apply to the government. The government of Jamaica is the largest landowner, who can hardly account for what it owns. Yet persons must meet high hurdles to get a title. This is wrong, Mr. Speaker. And we committing to put an end to this.
Noting that many informal settlements are being serviced by utility companies, Mr. Cousins stressed the need for strategies to be put in place to enable long-standing land occupiers to secure ownership.
Many of these informal settlements already being serviced by utility companies may have benefited from infrastructure upgrades and intervention by various government agencies, including members of parliaments and councillors. It would therefore be hypocritical for us as leaders not to formulate a workable strategy to formally enable long-standing occupiers to acquire these properties that they have possessed for decades. In simple terms, what it means, Mr. Speaker, is that the next PNP government will oversee what could be considered as the single largest transfer of wealth from the state to the people by formalizing and correcting a 192-year-old system of injustice that was meted out to the Jamaican people time come for us to put Jamaica first and to ensure that our people achieve true economic independence.
Opposition spokesperson on land, Northern Cousins. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, says Jamaica's current fiscal monetary policy mix places the country in a good position to respond to the various downside global risks should they realize. This was detailed in a statement by the Monetary Fund today. It said on June 12, the Executive Board concluded the Article 4 consultation with Jamaica and considered and endorsed the staff appraisal without a meeting. According to the release, over the last decade, Jamaica has successfully reduced its public debt, firmly anchored inflation and inflation expectations, and strengthened its external position. It said the country has built an enviable track record of investing in institutions and prioritizing macroeconomic stability. The IMF said Jamaica has met recent global shocks and natural disasters in an agile, prudent and growth-supportive manner, with economic activity projected to normalize as the effects of Hurricane Beryl and Tropical Storm Rafael, which hit the island last year, wane. The IMF noted that extreme weather events could affect economic activity negatively. However, it pointed out that Jamaican authorities are implementing sound macroeconomic policies in the context of strong policy frameworks. According to the IMF, the lowering of the policy rate in 2024 by the Bank of Jamaica was justified in view of the temporary nature of weather-related shocks and the expected convergence of inflation to the BOJ's target. The Monetary Fund said Jamaica is in a good place to respond to possible global risks due to the country's fiscal monetary policy mix. The search for the 11-year-old boy who was swept away by flood waters in White House, Westmoreland, was paused today due to inclement weather. Reports are that on Monday, the boy was making his way home after school at about 2:30 p.m. when he fell in a gutter and was swept out to sea. Members of the security forces and residents have been searching for the child since then.